which I don't know if I'm colorblind or not, but I'm not getting gingerhead. Like, he doesn't look real gingerhead to me. I'm like, maybe I don't know what a gingerhead is, but either way, not trying to be offensive.
Why in the world would you say I don't know if I'm colorblind or not?
because
Why would you say that?
because I be
Oh my
looking
gosh,
on the screen, and I wear glasses, so I'm like, every time she says it, I'm like, I don't get. I said maybe it's like the screen, or maybe because when I think of gingerhead, I'm thinking like redhead, like a true redhead person, like Harry, the Prince Harry.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Relax, Relate, and Debrief. I'm the younger sister, Jackie.
And I'm the older sister, Nicky.
And we are true blood, real life sisters, same mama, same daddy, bringing you our channel, which is purely for entertainment purposes. So we wanted to start this video with a disclaimer on what Relax, Relate, Debrief is. That way, you can be very sure what you're watching. And if you are interested, you can do what? Subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell. And like we always ask, please share. We want to grow this channel and we need your help to do that. In regards to Relax, Relate, Debrief, right now we are reviewing the show Married at First Sight for fun. Relax, Relate, Debrief came up based off of a sitcom from the 90s called A Different World, which was a fun sitcom, especially in the Black community. But it's a sitcom for all. And with that, there's a particular episode Debbie Allen is helping out. Her character is a therapist that's helping out Whitley, Jasmine Guy's character, and she tells her, girl, you gotta relax. Whitley is having her crisis and everything is, not going how she would want it to go. And Debbie tells her, just relax, relate, release. Relax, relate, release. So Whitley goes out, relax, relate, release. And that's for her to just unwind, not be so uptight, not take things so seriously. That is the purpose of our channel, which kind of mirrors that same feeling. You gotta relax, relate, but then let's debrief. Let's talk about shows that we're watching. Let's talk about entertainment. Let's talk about hot topics. Let's do all of that. As I said, right now we are doing a review, or we're just giving our opinion on the show Married at First Sight, which is a very popular show. There are a lot of channels that review this. There are some professionals. There are professional therapists. There are licensed psychologists. There are doctors. There are relationship experts that are reviewing it. If you're looking for a more in-depth of this type of show, we're just here just to give you a funny personal opinion. That's it. We're not going that in depth. We don't know these people for real. This is a reality show that is partially scripted, if you ask me, and it is portraying what the producers have edited and wanted you to see. So no, we're not diving that hard into it, but we are going to show you what it feels like to sit down as sisters and just have a good time. If you need that more deep, all of that insight into it, I am sure that those pages exist and we encourage you to check them out because I'm sure that they can dive into a little bit more on the psychological aspect that you may be looking for. But if you're like, I already had a serious week, I already had a lot going on, and I'm just trying to chill and look at these two fly girls, sisters, and we talk about life, then you've come to the right channel. The purpose of this channel is also to show you our personalities. We're real sisters, as I said. Fun fact about us is that we actually have the same exact birthday, and we are 3 years apart, but we could not be more different in our personalities. And so this is another reason why coming together and showing how, regardless of your personality, regardless of how you feel, regardless of your perspective, there's a way to come together, have a conversation about it, and it still be all in love. We do this with each other. We do this with our family. We do this with our cousins who are like our siblings as well. We do this with our friends. So please, if you want to join in and just join in on this community and this family where we're just chill, laid back, relaxing, relating, and debrief, please subscribe. You're at the right channel. Make sure that you share it. If you need something else, I promise you those other channels are available as well. But we realize that people may have the misconception, and so we wanted to bring clarity to Relax, Relate, Debrief. We have not done so in the previous videos. We've just come on and just kind of started just doing what we do as sisters. But we want to be clear to you, the viewer, and we hope that you enjoy, and we hope that you guys continue to subscribe. Thank you for the views. Thank you for subscribing. But thank you also for listening to this disclaimer. And with that, we're going to get into this episode of another review of Married at First Sight.
Well said. So yes, this last episode that we watched, it was a continuation of we're moving in together and kind of getting a chance to see each other's places and kind of get to know each other a little bit more, based upon where they live, how, things that they have interest in. Because, of course, you see those types of things when you walk into people's houses. It gives you a little bit more idea of their type of personality and who they are. And so we're going to get into our first couple, which is Chris and Nicole.
Okay, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
You start, because I want to hear your perspective.
Okay. Chris and Nicole, as you guys know, we have talked about and we have given them glowing remarks so far. I feel like in this episode, I kind of started to feel like Nicole does a lot more of the sacrificing. She does a lot more of having to put into it than Chris, which is a little bit surprising since the beginning and since his family stated that he's a heavy lover and he, dives all the way in, and he is normally the one that gets hurt and all of this stuff, and he's had, bad relationships in the past that he's talked about. But I feel like Nicole gives a lot in the relationship, and I feel like, I don't know if I've seen that coming from Chris yet. And so I did feel like them coming together, first of all, we talked about how last week, how Chris was crying over these dogs. Okay, it was, okay, we saw the dogs. Still don't see the reason for all of the crying, but that's neither here nor there. But they brought their dogs together to meet, which was a much better interaction than when Alexis and Justin brought their dogs together. The dogs didn't really know each other, so they weren't that really playful with each other, but I thought that was good. I feel like they're doing the right steps to kind of blend their life together. However, I thought it was weird that for them to be on this good road or this good trajectory, that they decided that they were going to, after the show is up, both of their leases are coming to an end. And so they decided to extend their individual lease for 9 months apiece. I thought that was, I don't know about that. I was happy that Pastor Cal came in and said to them, that doesn't make sense. Either you're all in or you're not. And either you're trusting the process or you're not. Because if you're trusting it, then your lease being up at the end of this would mean that you guys are coming together and, finding a place to live and doing all that. Is this a shadow? What is that? You guys are coming together and deciding what you're going to do as far as living together. So I was very happy that Pastor Cal kind of called them out on that, because I don't understand the concept. I think that people are stepping into this process and you can't bring, unfortunately, this is when you sign up for something like Married at First Sight, you can't bring your past into it. You can't bring outside reservation. You're either going to go for this or you're not. And so I'm happy that Pastor Cal did tell them that, because I feel like people step in and feel like they don't have to all the way commit to the process, and you're only going to get in it what you put in it. So by coming in and trying to tiptoe around it, you're not really getting everything that you're supposed to be getting and putting into this process. So I was disappointed by them deciding to do that. I still think that they're going to do well, but I think that once the experiment is up, especially if they both say yes, they need to move in together.
So I definitely agree. I don't think that it was a smart thing, especially just like upfront to be like, yeah, we're going to stay a nine months. Least I'm just like, why wouldn't you guys pick maybe 6 months if that's something? Because I get it. Like, you don't know if the end of this process, you don't want to be out of a place to stay and scrambling to find somewhere to live. But it was like, and it really was more of his decision. You can, Nicole then says, I forget who she says to someone. She was just like, she just finally gave in, but that's not really what she wants. At the end of the day, she wants to be able to live together. And she does do a lot more compromising. And I would just, if she really wants to move in, I guess for now she's just leaving it alone because she has at least 2 more weeks on her lease, and she's able to see when they get further along how she's gonna, be able to move forward. And I would just put my foot down. Like, one of us could keep our leases, but both of us don't need to extend our leases if we plan on, making it beyond this several weeks that we are going to be together. I would like to give a shout out to her dog, Charlie. Even though I'm not a dog person, Charlie was really like cool. Like Krista's dogs came in barking. Charlie was sitting there like he understood the assignment. Like we're just meeting. Like we're not doing all that. I like the idea that they brought the dogs to the dog park before going into the homes because dogs are, can be territorial when they're in their spaces. So you put them in a neutral space and you let them have, you let them run around and see how they interact before you place them in a home. So I definitely thought that was a great idea on their part. And I just kept looking at, look at Charlie. I think it's a he. Yeah, because his name was Charlie. But he was like the most chill dog. Like out of Krista's dogs was rowdy and I'm like, they don't seem like they have anxiety problems to me, but I don't know dogs. So he of course he would know his own dogs, but they were the ones that were more rowdy. And I was a little concerned because I was like, they started growling and everything, but they went up to Charlie and Charlie was like, I'm not about it. And neither are y'all. And then everybody just calmed down. They stayed in their respective places. And it was good. I agree. I look forward to seeing these two and their growth and their compromise. Hopefully Chris is able to see and give a little bit more and see how much Nicole is actually sacrificing. And, like she's sacrificing her dad being there and not seeing her dog every day and allowing him to bring his dogs. And so she's doing a lot of stuff, like you said, and I think he just needs to take that into consideration. And I definitely agree with Pastor Cal told them, that's not a marriage. This is not dating at first sight. This is married at first sight. And if you're going to decide to stay together, then you guys should be living together after this is over.
Yeah, Pastor Cal was definitely coming in and dropping gems on these couples. And I was like, thank you, Pastor Cal. Please get them because they have this whole mind and so forth and so it goes. And I think that like one of the things that I feel like is a part of being marriage is there are certain things in your mindset that has to change. And so you have to start operating as married, whether you're on Married at First Sight or whether you're in, getting married in real life. Once you decide that, it changes things. And I feel like they're doing this process, whether they're doing it for clout or whatever, but they're not taking on and embracing the change that has to come with it. Married at First Sight or married in real life is a risk.
Yep.
It just is. So are you taking this or not? So I think that you guys are doing good. You're doing well. Charlie was definitely an MVP. Her dog was cute. I felt like her dog was actually cuter than his. They was all over the bed. They came into the apartment. All right, now they
was very active. They were very active.
I was like, oh, okay. Charlie, I feel like would be a little bit more my speed. He seemed like I don't know if it's a he or a she because Charlie's unisex. I don't know.
It is. I think it's a he though.
It's a he?
If it's a he or she, sorry, I don't remember, but I think it's a he.
Okay. So listen, we like the dog. We love the dog. Yes. We don't know if it's a he or a she, but the dogs, just how the Nicole has the dog trained. The dog was definitely cool. But I wish that Chris would kind of give a little bit more with the give and take. And then I wish that they would kind of, and I think that Nicole has it more so than Chris. Like you said, this was really Chris's idea. But you have to understand that change is going to come. You have to be able to put yourself all out there or not. And I understand that, and you can set yourself up to be protected to where if God forbid it doesn't work, you're able to go, you're in Nashville, you've been in Nashville, you're able to go to a place, find a place, get started, give them what they need to get an apartment going. If God forbid it didn't work out, the plan and process to get another place because you're in a place now. I just don't like the idea of thinking that you're going to remain in a marriage and be in two separate locations. Right. That's just not, especially in a new marriage.
Yeah, that's
in a new marriage. Mm-hmm. So I think that they should reconsider that. And Nicole was compromising on that because that's not what she wanted. I did find it interesting that she felt like she was showing him her side. I don't want to say her bad side, but she was showing her side that she can get into. And it was just her complaining about a picture. No. I was like, he was was like, I haven't seen it. And I was inclined to believe him. And she's like, no, you've seen it. And they played her being upset about a picture, one of their wedding pictures. I was like, oh, that's it? Oh,
that was hilarious. She was on the rant, like on the camera. If this is a picture y'all picked. And I'm pretty sure he just saw it as a rant. Like, okay, about the picture. It didn't have anything to do with the interaction between us or an argument that we had. So it was funny.
She's like, well, you have seen it. And I guess I really think that she is teeter-tottering because I feel like maybe she can go there because everyone keeps just telling her, you're a strong personality. This is Nicole's a strong personality. And I'm like, okay, but she seems to operate well in that. There is the femininity and the softness that you need with him. And she has given Chris the acknowledgement to say that he does bring that, out of her. And so I think that that's good. But I was like, girl, have you seen my angry side? I'm inclined to believe that it hasn't come out yet because that wasn't it.
Right. Well, from what we saw, no.
Yes.
But so I'm gonna give them an accept. Like I think that they're gonna make it all the way through and pass decision day, and they'll say yes. So it's just accept for me.
I agree. I think that they are going to make it. I also think that my double chin is causing a shadow. Okay. Yeah. We don't get into it. That's fine.
We don't. That's not
part. But it is.
Next segment, we'll talk about double chins.
No, we're not gonna sit up here and dive into that. That was
fun. I have one too. Why not? So
this double chin. It's not, because that's not me. Okay.
No. So we're gonna move on to our next couple since we're still talking about dogs. I would like to get into Dominique and McKinley. Let me start with them, and let me start with my commentary on them. McKinley, I don't even recall you mentioning a dog. And maybe, he was doing it off camera, but it was like when they went to her. So we saw last week that they went to his apartment, his place that he was staying, which was basically just a room in his friend's parents' house. They go, she has an apartment. McKinley is given all the energy of, I don't feel like being here. I don't want to do anything that pertains to you, really. Like, she's like, feel free to walk around my apartment. Like, don't you want to get to know me? Like, because all the other couples, let me finish this thought. All the other couples were doing that, where they were going in each other's spaces and they were like, getting more understanding of each other. Okay.
I have a question, particularly on that. Don't you feel like, based off McKinley's energy, something happened that was not aired?
Yes.
Okay. Because I was watching it like, what didn't y'all air?
Right. Yes. So it did feel like something like, what in the world? Like, he just had no, I don't know if he was upset with their interaction and, like by her, like basically looking like, you don't, like maybe not being as enthusiastic about his space. And so he, kind of maybe was returning some of that energy, towards her. He didn't want to say anything, or, he wasn't really interested. And he's like, yeah, you get your things and keep it going. Then they get into the car. And then they get into the car and he's like, you just don't like nothing about me. You don't show any concern about when I'm talking about my dogs. And then come to find out his dogs are not even in the state with him. So then she makes a statement like, basically it doesn't seem like, she wasn't saying like, you don't really care about your dogs, but it was like, your dogs aren't even in the same state or area as you. So you're getting mad at me. Stop laughing. You're getting mad at me for not acknowledging your dogs. And I think in a previous conversation, like when they first met, she was like, she wasn't down for all the dogs being in the bed and, sleeping and all the hair and shedding and all that. Like, she saw them as as a nice thing to have, but it's not really a necessity. Whereas he's looking at his dogs as most people do, as their children or part of their family. And because, she didn't share that same thought, then we saw McKinley give all the energy of, you're not going to sit up here and talk to me about my dogs. Like, I don't care. So he acted like somebody called him an absentee father. And he was not about to have it. What'd you say?
I said, you don't want to take care of your kids.
Yeah, like that's what he was like. You try to sit here and tell me I'll take care of my dogs. I don't appreciate my dogs. I was like, I don't think that's what she meant. She was just saying it's hard to get I guess maybe a read on how you really feel about them when they're not even in the same area as you, because like we just looked at the previous couple where Chris was like completely devastated to be separated from his dog. So it's not like your dogs are somewhere else, and your dogs are not even in the same state as you. And so I just found that so interesting. And then when they met with Pastor Cal, well, first of all, before they met Pastor Cal, she was like, I'm not unpacking. I'm gonna go home and take me a bath at my house because I'm not moving in. So there was, like you said, there have been a lot of off-camera conversations that have happened, and then the camera comes on and we're getting the aftermath of those conversations. So just like when Dr. Cal came and he was like, you're like on the defense, like you're ready for battle. And she was like, I'm just over it. I'm just not. She just, came out and just said all the things that she didn't like. And I thought it was interesting that McKinley was saying, like, all you do is complain about the things that I don't do. Like, what is it that you like about me? And, to be honest, I haven't seen a lot of conversations from them, talking about the things that they actually like about each other.
Well, from the beginning, Dominique has never really liked McKinley. So that's just been what it was from the beginning. She's
Our
not
opinion, from what we can see.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Allegedly, but but also we see it. She, with my own eyes, she has not really liked McKinley. Mm-hmm. The issue is absolutely that y'all need to show us what happened prior to them going into Dominique's space. Because when I tell you that McKinley was the definition of unbothered looking at her place, and she was even like, do you see this as a place that you can live, after this, if we decide to move forward? He was just like, I don't know. Now, McKinley, that this is a better place than the basement you're living in.
Exactly.
But he was given all the energy of, I absolutely do not care. Like, if you like it, I love it, which is a slang for I don't like it at all. Right. So where his energy came from is still a mystery, but it was big. I don't care energy. It was big. It's whatever. It's whatever. Remy Ma, whatever. Right. But the thing that I feel like with McKinley is that whatever transpired this has all been piling on, and McKinley, like he stated, feels judged by Dominique, and McKinley has now turned insecure. And an insecure man, when it starts coming out, it's so much so for an insecure woman as well. But McKinley right now is an insecure man. And so it is coming out. And so that's why everything that comes out is all of the issues that he has had thus far, which has only been like a solid week and a half that he has had thus far. Right. You don't say this about me. You're not doing this about me. You're not. Now, he wasn't always very forthright, maybe not the best communicative of it, but something transpired, and now McKinley keeps going off about everything. You didn't even like dogs. She told you that day one. Why are we here now where you're coming at her about the dogs? I'm going to give Dominique this, though. She has the right to feel how she feels, because he was like, you worried about this? I'm here because this was the best course for me. I got money. Right. Pastor Cal basically agreed with McKinley in that way. Yeah. Told her that was minor. Mm-hmm. It's not like he's broke. Right. This is just a choice of where he is in life, and you come into a marriage and decide what you're going to do moving forward. Yeah. To a degree, I agree with Pastor Cal, because what he was saying was, stop coming in trying to just only see it your way. Yes. There is a way to come in, see his predicament, see his situation, and get clarity on it before you oh my goodness. Hold on, let's pray for the stuttering. No, I didn't. Wait. And get clarity on it before you make a decision, formulate an opinion. Come on. Formulate an opinion of someone's circumstance without getting the knowledge behind it. And I think that's where the offense is coming in at. because it sounds like McKinley just heard what she heard and saw what she saw and was like, no, get somebody else to do it. And I think that, I'm sorry, Dominique saw that. And I think that McKinley's thing is that I'm not a bad off dude. I'm not a broke dude. I'm not a dude with all this, that, and the other. You're not going to paint me to be this dude that I am because my situation doesn't look ideal. McKinley was giving the energy like, first of all, he was like, I'm in the CBD industry and I'm doing very well. I was like, well, that industry does do well. He ain't like it. He said, I'm doing very well. He, all of a sudden, because he was so defensive and became insecure about all of these things, I think that just compiled on, he was then just like basically, if we end this, I can decide to buy a house with you. I'm doing this because I want to. I do think that there is a little bit of give there. And you have to understand that when you're in a predicament of being, because Dominique said, I thought, because Pastor Cal told them, well, then if y'all are saying that y'all are not for each other, then you lied.
Yes.
I said, not the open rebuke. Then Pastor Cal proceeded to break down exactly what you asked for.
Right.
Because McKinley, this is what you said. Dominique, this is what you said. And I said, now when you look at it that way, they did give y'all what y'all said.
Absolutely.
Why did y'all coming for the experts on this show?
He said, not today.
He came in there with receipts. He was like, no, sweetie, this is what you said that you wanted. McKinley, you wanted somebody to bring you out of this, bring you out of your introvert, your shell, how you are. That's what you wanted. Because McKinley said, I wanted somebody like adventurous, but not like Dominique. Adventurous. McKinley. Also, too, what do you mean not like me, adventurous? And this is why they're in this tit for tat. Because all they're doing is now just offending each other. But I think that there's something to be said about feeling like you want to feel like somebody is established. She was like, I wanted an older man that was established. She doesn't feel that way with a 34-year-old living in the basement of his friend's parents' house.
Right.
I feel like Pastor Cal was telling her that that's dumb, basically. He was like, so? I feel like Pastor Cal, it's not a so.
Right.
It's not a so. Why are you 34 living in the basement? I did not agree. She also said the analogy, I'd rather you have been in a house with 4 roommates than in somebody's basement.
So which one is it?
And he was like, I was in my basement before I had 4 roommates. I was like, y'all, Pastor Cal, you got to bring this in. I feel like when your situation is what it is, especially understanding that you are entering into a marriage, like we always say, you need a man with a plan. You need to be with somebody that has goals and has a plan. I don't know if they've had these conversations off camera. Dominique's energy to me is just, she's completely turned off by this man. And these things, the corniness, probably on top of the wardrobe, as I've told y'all, the corniness of him, the coming in and seeing him, being in somebody's basement, all of it is turning her off. I'm not saying that she's 100% right, but I am asking the question so that I'm not judging you as well, McKinley. But I am asking the question, what conversation surrounded what the plan was? If you have a place back in Michigan, what's your plan with that place? You want Airbnb? You want to rent it out? You want to make that passive income? What's the plan? Right. When are you getting out of this basement? Because it is overall not the most attractive thing to have a 34-year-old husband that, to be honest with you, where's our place going to be called home? Because he hasn't prepared that. And sometimes you're looking for that. Even if you're doing the non-traditional marriage and it's a partnership and all of that, fine. That's not what she has the right to say. I'm not doing that in somebody's basement. So I just feel like McKinley is completely, he has been feeling like he's been dealing with shots from Dominique, like, low blows, some blows. And I think that his energy was completely, even when he was moving the luggage in, he was like, what's the deal? You bringing your luggage in here or not? McKinley was over it. Dominique talking about she was over it. I was like, I don't know if you got over it as fast as McKinley did, though. Because he was absolutely over it. But I think that as a man at this point, his ego is now in in play, and he's just like, yeah, I'm not having it. I am that dude. I don't really care what you see, this, that, and the other. And like he was ready to come for Dominique. Like, cause what you doing? You over here acting like you got all of this. What you doing?
So I will say, if I'm interject for just a second, he did. I don't feel like he became insecure. I feel like he kind of got a little bit. He got offended by what she was kept saying about him, and then, like you said, his ego popped. Like basically, you are focusing on the minute things, but I have X, Y, and Z that's going on. I would like to say that I did watch the after show in which Dominique was talking, and before Pastor Cal came, they had an argument where McKinley was telling her all of the things he told the experts that he wanted, and she was not any of those things. And then he proceeded to say, in quote, I wrote it down because I said, oh, he said, Pastor Cal thinks he's going to walk in here and says what he says, and we're going to change our minds.
I'm sorry, who said that?
McKinley.
Yes.
That's what he was saying to her. So that's why she was on the, like the ready, like, what you gonna say? Because I'm gonna come back at you, basically. And he didn't give any of that energy to Pastor Cal when they had the conversations, none of the things. But she was basically saying, there have these conversations where he's like not maybe the nicest or expressing himself in a way. And Keisha Knight Pulliam, excuse me, gave the analogy of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and she was like, yeah. She was like, sometimes
Dominique said yes, agreeing.
Yes, she said it's like we have these things that are on, he says the stuff to me off camera, and it's like he gets on camera. She said, don't get me wrong, he is nice, he is thoughtful, he is all of these things, but he also has a side where people don't see, and I see that. And so we can see how I believe that she came in like with the, they came in both with the expectation that this was going to work. But I think as slowly things have begun to kind of like unwind, and she kind of gets to know more and more about him. And like we say, they pack all of this information, all of their experience into 8 weeks, but you can't capture everything. And of course, they're not capturing every conversation that they're having. And so we are, getting able to see kind of the aftermath of things that have happened. What I will say about Dominique was, as Keisha Knight asked her, was like, do you feel like you have given him a fair chance? Like, to be honest, you've only known him for a week. And she was like, I can say no. You know what I mean? Because as things started, she was like, did you give him a fair chance to really get to know him? Like, you really only know him for a week. And the things that irritate you about him kind of are more, these are my words, the things that seem like they irritate you about him are more in the forefront. And rather than you kind of pulling back and like keeping those to yourself, like you don't even really have to say it all to the camera, but like kind of saying like, all right, we're back home now, kind of like, let's really get to know each other. The honeymoon phase is over. We're not going to be around all of the other couples. Let's see how well we actually mesh and why we were put together. And that's what Pastor Kyle was saying. Like, basically you're focusing on the minute things. McKinley should have absolutely most certainly have been able to express, I may be doing this right now. This may be my living situation right now, but this is not my plan. My plan is X, Y, and Z. And maybe he didn't feel comfortable telling her his plan because based upon her reaction. And so that's why they're having this kind of tit for tat thing where he's getting mad about things, she's getting mad about things, and it's like coming off. And she's like, his energy is off and all this. But you know why his energy's off? Because y'all were arguing or y'all were having a disagreement. And so then, you get to the apartment, it's like, nah, I'm not staying here because he doesn't have the right attitude. But to be honest, as I was watching it, and I was like, yeah, I don't think we're even, us viewing it are not really giving McKinley a chance. We're just seeing the things that he's doing on camera as annoying, you're not ready, and all this other stuff like that. But to be honest, we don't know him just as much as she don't know him. And so we really don't know how he truly is. And we only can judge by what we see.
First of all, thank God I'm gonna start watching the after show. Start giving credit to the after show, yes, because they basically are giving them the space to come in and say, hold up. Like, yes, I said in the beginning of this video, it is the edits that they are giving us on this show that they want us to see. Because I knew it. I knew something transpired beforehand because I was like, what are y'all not showing? This does not make sense.
Right.
It's here. Everyone, and McKinley's turned off, Dominique is turned off within their own right. I will say this: you have to be what they call open-minded to go into something that is not what you are used to. If
Right.
you're not open-minded, you will find those little things to pick on and pick at, and in Dr. Cal's defense, what he said, you will not fully enjoy the experience or the person that could truly be for you because you're so closed-minded. And when you say that you're given a chance, or you think that you're being open-minded, you really want to redirect that, because be clear, when you are not attracted to something and someone from the jump, when you're not interested, you're not interested.
Right.
You're just not. And I'm saying that even off of Married at First Sight.
Right.
If my type, and I don't even want to say my type, because there is a part of me that's open-minded, but if you approach me and I'm not interested, I am not interested.
Right.
And if, God forbid, if I'm in a situation where I have to be interested, I'm probably doing what McKinley's doing and finding all the reasons that validate my being uninterested.
Right.
And that's what she's doing with McKinley. She's finding what validates her not being interested. And in the reality is, like I said, people like corny dudes. That's what McKinley needs. He needs the woman that, is totally cool with that, finds that attractive, and lets him be him.
Right.
But I am gonna have to start watching the after show, because it gives that little added detail and confirming that I wasn't crazy. What in the world happened here? But McKinley Dominique is someone who needs to get out of her head, and she has full on offended McKinley at this point. Absolutely. And that came out throughout this entire episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Decline, not gonna make it.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're not gonna make it. I don't see them making it.
Sorry.
So let's get into our next couple. I'm gonna go ahead and slide on and talk about Gina and Clint. Damn. You want to start?
Gina and Clint. I don't have much to say on Gina and Clint for the third week in a row. I find Gina to be almost as bad as as Dominique. She has decided that she doesn't like Clint. Mm-hmm. She's trying not to look superficial on the camera, so she keeps throwing things in there about her salon, who she's dated in the past, and this, that, and the other. And then she keeps using Clint's comment about dating an athlete as basically her way out. Prior to him making this comment, you weren't looking to be moving in with this dude or nothing. And you keep surrounding it around the fact that you don't feel like the romantic is there, the attraction is there, and all of that. Right. You too, and I felt like Pastor Cal could have been a little bit more leaning in on, I'll say, but obviously taking a comment about anyone's physical, you are able to extract that and expand it and blow it up like a balloon, which she is trying to do. And so I'm glad that Clint still goes in there with, bro, let's not act like you didn't start this. Right. Like, she calls me gingerhead and all of this other stuff. She goes into everything with the conversation being that she basically does not like him. I will say the same thing I said about Dominique. When you just don't like something, sometimes, and you have to be at a very mature state, and you have to really be open to the process that you signed up for. Right. To be able to say, but I need to go in this wholeheartedly. Beyond Clint's comment, Gina was never in it wholeheartedly. I will extend the same grace, and I will watch the after show. Please let me know about conversations that they did not edit. But the result of it is that from what I see, from what we see, I am not saying that Clint is perfect, and sure, he could have chose his words better, blase. But you went into this unattracted to him, and because you were not attracted to him, you gave it 24 hours to see how you would feel. And since then, you have completely friend-zoned him. And now you're saying that you don't want to move in because you just don't feel like it's the best thing for a marriage. I will go back to what we said about Nicole and Chris. You do not start off a marriage separate. Right. Change your mindset. If you're going into this and really going into this, then you have to take that risk and do it. Right. But if you're not, then you need to be honest with the viewers, with Dr. Cal, with the experts, with the producers, and say, I just don't want him. and y'all aren't being honest, and you're hiding behind all of these excuses and all of these facades. And honestly, Gina gaslights Clint to me, and I can't stand it. And it irritates me every single episode because you are putting this behind one comment based off of a tone of a conversation that you set. You set the tone of, I don't really like you. Mm-hmm. So Clint had to be like, well, there's some differences in what I would date too. But to me, at least Clint is trying.
Right.
At least he's in the process to try. Gina, this is my third week in a row, just immediately stop talking and dismiss. And look to the left. I mean, to my right, your left.
Yeah. I agree. Like at this point, she should have just been honest with Pascal and say, I just want to this, because he asked, is this like, I think he asked him, right? If this is, are you getting a divorce? Or are you going to stay together? Or is this your decision day? And she should have just been honest and said, this is my decision day. I don't want to continue the process any further, whether it be, it's just not going the way I thought it would go. There are just some things that, I've realized I need to work on or whatever. I agree. I think she does gaslight him. Like, cause even when he was talking about the situation, she was like, oh, we can talk about this all day long. Now, was it necessary, or should you let him finish his sentence? Why do you have to add the extra commentary or, seemingly be immature about the situation? To me, if she was a little bit more mature, it would be a conversation that I would have had with Clint. I don't want to move in because I don't feel like moving in is going to actually help us. Not that, we need to be separated and all that. Y'all not dating. You signed up, like I said, married at first sight, not dating at first sight. And so therefore the process is that we're 16 seasons in. Nothing that you're doing now has not been already done. Have you not seen the show before? Again, 16 seasons in, the same thing happens. You go on a honeymoon, you come back to real life, and you move in together. And for the simple fact is, just be honest. You just don't want to move forward. You're in your head about that comment because even was like, well, how you know I'm not athletic? How you know I'm not? So are you an athlete or not? Because most of your conversations are, you don't, like, to me, you don't give off athleticism, and that's not because of your physique. It doesn't seem like that's something on your mind. Like, I'm a straight out, like an athlete, you talk to them and
to your point, it's because she spends 98% of the time talking about her salon.
Right. So I was going to say that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I was going to say that. So I don't, even us as the viewers, I don't even view you as an athlete, like I said, and it has nothing to do with your physique. It just has everything to do with your topic of conversation of what we saw. And we know that we're only getting a minimum amount of what we see that you all do, but it just never seemed like, you talked about sports, you talked about running, like you're not like Aries is like a whole, to me, he's more athletic, or I would consider him to be athletic out of everybody because he gets up, he does the jog, and he does the exercising. I don't know if he plays any sports or anything like that, but he seemed like he would because he's just always on that. And we've seen her. She does actually. She has exercise. She does run. She has her dog, and so that's fine. I think we have to acknowledge that there's a difference between someone who works out and then someone who's a true athlete. And I thought Clint did a good job of explaining that. Like, I wasn't talking about your body. I wasn't saying you were not an athlete, but from our conversations, I've never gotten that you were an athletic person. And that's not to downplay anything that you've done thus far. So yeah, at the end of the day, I don't have too much for them except for they should have just ended it last night, or when the episode came on. They should have just ended it there. She should have just said, I'm not interested. I'm sorry. I thought things were going to go a different way. They didn't. And I think week after week now to harbor on this comment. And the other thought I had was, I don't like the fact that she doesn't acknowledge what Clint says is offensive to him. So I've learned in life that while I may think something is not offensive to somebody, while I think that I'm giving them criticism, or I'm being smart, if you're offensive and I say you're offensive, you should take that into consideration. And whether you had malicious intent behind it or not, it's still, if it comes off as offensive and I tell you I'm offended, you should not acknowledge and validate that. I don't want to hear about, oh, well, I say ginger all the time because I work with hair. That's fine. You're not in the salon. This is supposed to be your spouse, someone that you're trying to get to know, who's telling you that from the jump, you've been telling him about him being gingerhead and how much you don't like gingerheads and all this other stuff, which I don't know if I'm colorblind or not, but I'm not getting gingerhead. Like, he doesn't look real gingerhead to me. I'm like, maybe I don't know what a gingerhead is, but either way, not trying to be offensive.
Why in the world would you say I don't know if I'm colorblind or not?
Because,
Why would you say that?
because I be looking on the screen and I wear glasses. So I'm like, every time she says it, I'm like, I don't get. I said, maybe it's like the screen, or maybe because when I think of gingerhead, I'm thinking like redhead, like a true redhead person, like Harry, the Prince Harry. I'm not trying, like, he got red hair. All right, I'm not gonna keep talking about people because I don't want nobody to get offended. So go ahead.
But listen, you sound like somebody auntie, like Harry, the Prince Harry, like Harry.
You know how we do. We gotta give you a description.
Auntie.
But so I don't, but like I said, and all in all, it's, and you have to be mindful of your words, how you say you're critiquing somebody and saying you're, like I said, if there's an offense there, it's an offense on both ends, and it can't keep being an excuse of what I said. Well, what he said was way worse than what I said. And right now we're doing tit for tat, and that's not necessarily true, because there could be a lot of people out there that are just offended by your comment of keep calling him gingerhead and not attractive. And so, for me, y'all should just, I feel like Clint needs to find somebody more of his speed, and who's going to actually give him a chance, an opportunity, and that who's going to allow for grace in times where, because you guys are still getting to know each other. Y'all don't know each other yet. And so somebody that's going to actually be able to extend that grace to say, I know he don't know me. I know, we talked about it. He apologized. And so I'm going to be able to move on. Now, if you're a repeat offender, that's different. But if he hasn't said anything from that time to this time in regards to trying to be offensive to you, then why are we still harboring on this comment and being an excuse to not to move forward? So for me, for them, it's a decline, of course, like I've been saying since the beginning.
She has an excuse for everything. One of the things that I feel like Clint needs to say to her every time she says, well, in my salon, nobody cares. I wish he would say to her, I'm not one of your clients for my hair. I'm your husband. Right. And so I'm trying to talk to you as a husband, not one of your clients. She keeps trying to use all of these things as her defense mechanism. That's the issue that I have without her acknowledging anything. Clint's one comment she has taken, it kind of reminds me, I don't know if you watch the last season of Love is Blind, but Zainab gaslighting Cole. If y'all watch that, then you understand when she was basically saying that Cole was, and I'm not saying that they were compatible, but she made it seem like Cole told her that she was eating too much. Now, Zainab is like Gina. Like these women they're considered curvy or whatever, but they are actually beautiful women. Right. If you would like to go into a chamber and exchange bodies tomorrow, I would do it. Okay. So like they're not, they look fine. They have their own insecurities. And anytime you come to someone's body, even if you think the person is perfect, they could have their own insecurities. We know this, right? Everybody thinks, most people, not everybody, most people think Halle Berry's beautiful. If you talk to Halle Berry, I'm sure she has had insecurities her entire career that would make people be like, huh? Right. It doesn't matter. You understand that you have those rights. So that's why you try not to go into that way. Well, it is also reversed. Maybe Clint has had issues being a redhead the whole time. So when he's telling you that, just because it's not about his body, don't dismiss it as it's not a big deal. Right. I don't really care what's socially forward. We all have something, Gina. Okay? And so if I tell you that is a nerve for me, don't decide to dismiss it because you do redheads hair all day. And half of them, you're just putting dye in their hair because they want to be fashionable for the moment. Right. Okay? And you don't walk around telling them after their hair is done that you don't find them attractive either. That's the basis of what we're trying to say here, Gina. And the other thing is that her saying that she feels like moving in and sleeping in separate bedrooms is worse. So that's why she's deciding not to move in. Pastor Cal, please call that out for what it was.
Right.
You're married. You need to learn how to share a space with someone. You now have to move in with this person. You need to learn how to cohabitate together. You need to get into a rhythm with each other. If you don't want to sleep in the same bedroom with him because it's still only a week, that's why they have the 2 bedroom situation set up when they set up the apartment. Go in the other bedroom. You staying home is because you have already disassociated from this man in your mind.
Absolutely.
Say that. Stop this gaslighting. Stop it. Stop it. Now, Gina, stop it. I will give you the grace of maybe there are some things that are not being aired, but it hasn't been talked about. Let me not say it hasn't. I haven't watched the after show, but go on the after show then and make it plain. Because right now, you are the common denominator. You are the problem. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Oh my God. Yes.
Next couple.
All right. We're going to get into the next couple. That's going
Gina bothers me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Gina bothers me really bad with that. But also, when you said something, it made me think about going back to Dominique and McKinley when they were talking, and she was trying to talk, and McKinley kept getting. This is how I'm sorry, but McKinley was in that energy of like, if you ready to go, if you feeling froggy, let's leave. Because she then had to say to him, "Are you gonna let me talk, bro?"
Yeah.
Like I was like, yeah, they have been arguing because when Dominique had to be like, he was like, "Oh, you sorry, I'm right. Like you got that, but like if you gonna talk, let's talk." McKinley was. So when you said that, it made me think about that. I was like, yeah, they was on that couch going. But go ahead.
Right. Yeah.
Next couple.
Next couple is gonna be Jasmine and Heiress. You want to start? You want me to go?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I just want to say, first of all, Jasmine, I was like, when in the first episode, I'm like, you got all them dogs. Ain't nobody got time for all that, whatever. I was very shocked to see how she had the litter of dogs. So she was saying she is a dog breeder. And like, basically when she went and she's still living with her parents. And that's probably because she's also, I think her mom's the one that's sick too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for whatever reason, she's there with her parents, and she shows the dogs, and then Heiress is like, oh well, it's like this little one I wouldn't mind taking like over that, over the mother, because the mother was a little bit bigger. But he's like, I'll take this little, like, why we can't take one of these home? And I was like, yeah, like they cute. Like I like the dogs. Like I'm becoming like maybe a slight dog lover of the little dogs, and she had them all in a cage, and of course I'm sure she lets them out or whatever. But when they went into the house, they seemed to be a little bit more, he seemed to be a little bit more relaxed. He saw all of her titles, and he was like, I would be a little bit more arrogant if I was you. Like, so you definitely like not as arrogant as you should be, being as though you won all these titles, and you're constantly in this pageant world, you're a cheerleader, you do a lot of things. And so the thing that I liked most about them this episode was when when Pastor Cal made them say things about each other that they liked, and recognizing. So, and I noticed sometimes he was saying the things I love and not like. Like, I love that you work with children. I love that. And I said, you wasn't saying. She said like the things that she liked about him. He said a few things, and he said, I like, this particular quality, that particular quality. But I think that was a good exercise, and that the couple should focus more on that. What are the things? Like, we can talk all day about the things that we don't like about each other. We hands down have that down, but it takes more energy and more thought to put in. No, what are the things that I actually like about you and that I've actually noticed? And I noticed that he noticed things about her, and she notices things about him. And she admitted to liking him, and he admitted to not being in the same place as her as far as liking, and her being aware of that. And so, like Pastor Cal was saying, like, you're focusing on the wrong thing. If we can get your focus off of, because you're not there and you're not ready to jump or close, which I thought was interesting, because he kept saying all these different stuff about wanting to, sleep with her, favorite, all these positions and all this other stuff like that. And then when it came to, when they were talking about it, he was like, yeah, I'm just not there.
But remember, I said Heiress is playing the game of Married at First Sight.
You did say he was playing the game of Married at First Sight. And so I'm glad that, it seems now that he is really just being upfront and honest in his feelings about her. And like she said, you don't always tell me everything that I want to hear, but you do it in a way that you're not tearing me down, which is what you want in somebody. You know, we're not always going to agree on things. We may not always see things eye to eye, but there's no need for us to tear each other down just because we don't agree. So I think they might make it if he can get past all the. So I might have to. I'm still like decline, except I'm not sure. In the middle, maybe.
What? Let me tell you. For Heiress and Jasmine, that's her name, right?
Yes.
Not the short-term memory loss. Jasmine. First of all, I thought that the dogs were so cute. I felt this episode, I like Jasmine's personality.
Right.
I feel like Jasmine's cool. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like she's just cool. I'm sure she has like whatever, like, you know, pissed off, she might be mad, blah, blah, whatever. That's half of America, whatever. But I just think that she's cool. And I think that she's in this process and going through this process, and she's just cool. She's even keeled. She's level-headed. She can articulate what she's trying to say, her thoughts. I like Jasmine.
Me too.
I really do. I was like, that's what I said when I watched it. I was like, you know what? I really like Jasmine. And I like Jasmine for Heiress.
Right.
I think that Heiress doesn't need someone like him. So like when he walked in and saw all of her accomplishments and was like, oh, I would be way more arrogant. I was watching it and I was like, we know, Heiress. He was like, I would be a little bit more. We know, Heiress. We hear you. Every time we turn on this TV, we know you be giving us a little bit more. But excuse me. I have a LaCroix.
Let's say sip.
Something went down my throat. This is a grapefruit. Do you drink sparkling water?
No.
And yeah, okay, from the energy I'm getting, you're not even interested.
No, not of course. I've tried this stuff, and it does nothing for me. That's like
the thing that I like about Jasmine and Heiress is, now I do agree with you. I did see a little glimmer of, what say ye?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Heiress had mentioned that he is naturally comfortable with Jasmine. So he's naturally comfortable, like even when he had like his hand on her leg, like with the physical touch and things like that, that's something that was natural to him. And he admitted that, you know, that was easy for him. Well, to me, again, unless you're just faking it till you make it, that's all a part of attraction.
Right.
You don't have to be like, when it's just natural for you to feel that way with somebody, that's a part of the chemistry, the compatibility, like that. There's so many components that go into it. I'm not saying that you should be marrying somebody because they touch your leg one day. I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to make it this thing. I'm just saying your overall feeling with her is an indicator that he's not giving that credit for. And I think that he's just, like they talked about when Pastor Cal was there, he has a type.
Right.
And that is a whole nother episode, because you can have a type,
right,
but the way it hasn't been working out with your type is why you're 39, saying that you've never really like truly been in love, and why you don't have, you know, you desire the wife, the companionship, that partner, and you're not getting it unless you truly don't desire it, Heiress, and you just want to see how you can get some social media fame. Because I still kind of have that in the back of my mind about Heiress, and I don't like it. And the more I see about Jasmine and her accomplishments, she can get it if she wanted it, Heiress. She really don't. Like, she's got it. I really think that she could be married to you and stay married to you. I truly like Jasmine's spirit that she's giving off. I really think that she's good. I think that she would be a good wife. I think that she is the more shy, more reserved, more humble one than you. Heiress don't need nobody mention him. No. My God, today. And those couples exist. But no, we don't need, we're both of y'all just, woo, we so, you know, what Jasmine is a leveling out for him that I like. And I think that he understands that. Again, the things that he was talking about, Pastor Cal. He might be some type of psychiatrist, but Pastor Cal was letting him know, focus on those things.
Right.
Because he's like, I'm normally a sexual person, I'm normally this, I'm normally that. And all of those things, Heiress, have brought you to 39 and alone. So focus on those things where you know that you have. I felt like he gave her a really strong compliment when he was like, if you have my kids, God forbid something happens to me,
Yes.
I am confident that my kids would absolutely be fine.
Absolutely.
He has seen who she is at her core, which I think is like, I go, like we're saying about her, and he knows that. You need to hone, that's what you need to hone in on. That's who you want. Who is going to be the mother of your kids? Who is going to be taking care of you? God forbid something happened to you. Jasmine gives off, she's got you.
Right.
May be hard, blah, blah, whatever, but the same way she's taking care of her mother, like her, who she is what Heiress needs. I see the reason for them pairing them together. I really like Jasmine, and I feel like if I understand that Heiress has a type, and so he's saying that he's not attracted, but I'm also watching his actions and I'm seeing that there is some attraction there. And I hope that he gets over whatever it is of him that keeps pulling him back or keeps making him think, well, she's not this, she's not this, she's not that. She doesn't have to. Is she what you need to finish out life? Boy, you 40. You basically there. So I really hope that he can kind of upgrade his thinking by way of what it is that he's looking for in a partner, looking for out of life. And I really think that Jasmine could be that person. And I did see that glimmer where I was like, they could actually make it.
Absolutely.
That was the first time. I was like, they can actually make it. And the compliments that they were giving each other, like you mentioned earlier, were really nice compliments, and they weren't really surface. Again, for him to feel like he could, God forbid something happened to me, you as a mother of my kids is great. Like, that is not a surface compliment. That's a good
thought.
And he did mention, and he was saying, did you see my sweatpants? I did get dressed from the top up today.
Okay.
So yes, I do think that they can make it, and I did appreciate their compliments to each other. There was something else that happened with them. I don't know, I can't think of it, so we're not going to play. Not me being in church. We're not going to prolong the time.
We're not going to prolong the time.
The word has been brought forth, amen.
We're not going to belabor the time.
Churchy. But yeah, I did. I saw that, and I was like, you know what? They can make it. And I also hope that Heiress doesn't let people get in his head, like his circle, who he's been friends with, and this, that, and the other, because they too have not been able to bring you what it is that you've been looking for. And so I really want him to trust this process, and I could actually honestly see them like Amani and Woody.
Right. I mean, and I think even if like they don't stay together, I think that it should be an eye opener for him, at least, to understand that, like you said, the other types that he's kind of been going after or have kind of been with, and nothing's really led to love or marriage, that it's helping him to see. I think there's probably some like apprehension or kind of like fear, like if I lean into this process, like, I don't know, because I'm normally like this type of person, especially if you have it in your mind, in your head, like, this is my specific type and this is all I want to date. And and you meet somebody that's kind of like completely opposite of that, people, often kind of reject that, because it's like, that's not the normal. But you find, like, when you talk to like certain couples, and they're like, yeah, they wouldn't be the typical person that I would date. But once I stepped out of that mindset and just like be open, like 100% open. So I think as he opens up, that he's going to recognize that, he's already seeing the value that she brings to the relationship and actually helping him. And I think that, I know we talked about his we said immaturity, but I think, like I said, it's just more of it's what I'm used to. And when you had that embedded in your head, what I'm used to, and you kind of like don't let go of that, you kind of stand in your own way. So, hopefully that he lets go of that, and he begins to really open up to her, and, they can develop a true relationship.
when you can let go of what you're used to, you can actually see your life change. My God, today. My God. In so many facets of life.
Yes, that's
if
so true.
you could just stop holding on to what you're just so used to,
come on,
there is such a reward
come on,
in recognizing what you want versus what you need. And first getting that understanding. I'm not gonna preach to y'all this morning.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna give a little word with my cash app at the end.
Okay.
When you first put it for the offering,
right.
When you first put it before the Lord and pray, and then you start to move out of what you're just so accustomed to.
Yeah.
I listened to Steve Harvey talk about, and this is on relationships, but this is not really on relationships, but this is in life, because it's not even just Heiress. A couple of these people just want to talk about what they're used to. This is what I prefer. This is what I've had. This is what when you can get out of that, life could actually be so much better. There's so much that you're not even tapping the surface of, because you're just trying to talk about what you're used to, what you prefer. This is what I want. This is what when you get away from that and actually tap into your purpose, and you actually start tapping into understanding that when marriage truly is a covenant, and when it's done right, the power that it can bring forth, there's a reason why couples, not all couples, but some of these couples that have been married for 30 plus years and 40 plus years, that can truly tell you something, and that are truly, that got together, that made it work, and maybe it wasn't what they were used to either. They can tell you about how life really worked for them. And Steve Harvey talked about being successful means you have to take, at some point, every successful person had to take a jump. They had to leap somewhere. They had to do something. Stop doing the same things and expecting these different results.
Preaching.
Stop getting these same women and then wondering why you're not married. Stop going after the same thing. Do you want to advance your life? We only get to do this thing one time. Do you want to advance your life or not? And if you want to, you're going to have to stop talking to just about, I just prefer, you're going to have to get a little uncomfortable. But I believe the end result in that is, this was worth it.
Come on, mother. And give a word.
With my sweater and black sweatpants on.
100% agree. There's nothing to say else behind it. You said it.
And a part of me feels that way about Heiress. I look at Jasmine, I look at Heiress, and I'm not trying to tell you that you're looking at two perfect people. Like, get out of that. But I just want some of these people to just get out of their own way. Right. Just get out of their own way. Get out. But I saw a little glimmer, the same glimmer that I've seen with our next couple, Shaquille and Kirsten. I saw that with Jasmine and Heiress. Now, I'm not going to give them, I'm going to keep them as declined. I am going to keep them as declined. Jasmine and Heiress. Yeah,
I'm going to keep them as declined, yes. You know how you swipe the card first and it declines, and then you can swipe it again into the yes? So decline, yes.
I'll be wondering what happened though. Was it the machine, or did you transfer money real quick?
You be like, no, I know it's money in there. Go ahead, do it again.
Kevin Hart, because the way my checking in my bank account is set up, my savings account.
Now, if it's the third time, then no, you ain't got it. But
no, because that happened to me at Chipotle, and I stood there like the meme. Y'all hear me saying, I said, because your machine's broke, and it was the machine. I did like 3 times. She was like, it's not going through. I said, I left it immediately. Not me logging into mobile banking, because the embarrassment, I will not.
Right.
I log into mobile banking because who can't get this $10 burrito?
All right.
Or quesadilla I was getting. You know, the famous Keith Lee quesadilla.
Listen, I just want to thank God. I'm going to give a testimony right here for the days where I used to go to the ATM machine. If you put in $10, it's baby, you ain't got $10 and you owe us $35.
No.
When I say brought me from a mighty long way.
Listen, I worked at the bank, okay? I'm going to interject real quick. Fun fact for me. There were times where they would be like, hey, y'all want to go get something to eat after work? And I would be like, oof, not hungry. And that was because when I looked and saw that $6.17 balance, I'm not going out. I can't do that. Why is my balance $6.17?
Exactly.
What was I doing with my money? Paying my car insurance, paying my phone bill, and I did put money in my savings. Now, we're not going to talk about what was going on at first with my savings. I was putting money in. Somebody was taking
That's
money
not.
out.
We're not getting on it. Your mother. It's like, no, I'm playing.
It was not my mother.
I know it was her. I know it wasn't her.
However, I did have an older sibling. I only got one. That was the guardian. And every
Allegedly, nobody seen me do it. I mean, I'm not admitting it. Never mind. Let's move on to something else. Next couple, Shaquille and
them signed savings withdrawals is in somebody's archive.
And Kirsten.
What? You cut me off.
I can't even get started.
Go ahead, next couple.
Shaquille and Kirsten.
Shaquille and Kirsten. Let me tell you what. The more Shaquille talks, the more I get annoyed.
Why?
The more, you know what it is? This is terrible. And this is what we talk about. When she said he talks at me the first time, she like acknowledged that. Like, I don't like how you sometimes your presentation is not the best for me. I feel like I've been seeing it ever since. So him completely, you want to talk about judging an apartment? Shaquille took out his ruler stick and ruled with a iron.
Yeah.
Everything. And like, don't like nobody even live in here. Some people are minimalists and they like that. Mm-hmm. They don't really need all that. I don't have a lot of pictures and stuff on my wall. We ain't got no pictures of your family. You ain't got no, I don't have pictures of them. What I do have is a social media. You can follow me on Instagram at Livinglearninglifestyle, and I'm also on TikTok. And you probably see a lot of my family there. Like, I don't like, times have changed, and I don't really like to feel especially in an apartment. If I'm in a house, that could be different. I had a house and I didn't, so you know what?
So you didn't have pictures in your house. I'm not now one family member.
But like, I'm not into that. My dad used to have these 80 by 80 picture frames in the house, and he took all these pictures. And don't get me wrong, I love pictures. They tell a story, they tell time, and they are something that you can treasure and hold forever, especially when someone is gone. I used to think it was, I couldn't stand it. He had these 80 by 80 frames in one here, one on each side of the TV with pictures of just everything. And I was like, Daddy, it was just a lot in the room. It would make the room feel cozy. Sometimes when you do too much in a space, I done gave y'all a message. Now I'm gonna give you a little internal design feedback. When you do too much in a space, and especially if you don't have a big enough space, it starts to feel closed in. So you want to keep an open feel. So sometimes people don't have a lot for that reason. Shaquille, he was like, you ain't got nothing up here. It's like, don't nobody even live in here. Now, she did need some nightstands in the bedroom. No, Kirsten. He was like, where did you put your phone that night? She was like, in the bed with me. But you want to talk about turned off by somebody's living situation? And I didn't like that they didn't show us her visiting his place.
Right. I don't know what that was about. What happened there?
I don't know. But she was like, because when they showed us like the little glimpse and he had all them bow ties lined up, if he would have came in my apartment talking like that, I'd be like, I'm sorry, I don't have a bunch of bow ties completely hoarding the space. But he was so like, oh, what is you doing? This is nice, but you're like, you live in here. Some people like that. It's called a nice, clean look.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. He was coming, and then he walked into that closet and was like, oh my God. I was like, Shaquille. But he was cracking me up. Like, he was so like, about her space. And I was like, you ain't got to stop it. And I just felt like when they met with Dr. Cal, I kind of appreciated their conversation. I have liked Shaquille and Kirsten from the beginning. I still see their glimmer, because even when they were like talking and joking, I don't think he was being mean and malicious to her at all in how he felt about her apartment. There's not a meanness behind him. It's just how he is. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that he does like to joke. And I think that he does like to roast you, per se. Now, somebody that's always roasting, all right, now. But like, not like it, but I don't get anything bad behind. I don't get a bad intent behind what he's doing. I think that that's just him. But when they met with Dr. Cal, she did mention like how she told him, like, you joke too much, blah, 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 whatever. And Dr. Cal was kind of giving them the same thing, like, well, more so to Kirsten, like, don't focus on the, what's the word? The surface stuff.
Right.
Like, don't focus on the surface stuff. And, Shaquille was like, I get it. I done told her about accidents, this, what I got going on, and this, that, and the other. And he was like, Kirsten's not vulnerable with me. And she admitted, I am slower with that. I'm a slow walker. And and Pastor Cal let him know, you need to create a safe space for her to be able to do that, because that's true. It's very difficult. And especially when you've been burned by it before. I don't know her past experiences where you felt like you had a safe space and that person actually was never really good for you or anything like that. It wasn't safe. It was them just simply being who they were, which is, manipulative, a user, whatever. And so it can make you not want to be that way moving forward. Well, you can't bring that in. The other person does have to create that, because to Pastor Cal's point, Kirsten obviously created a safe space for you to be able to feel like you could be that vulnerable. And so women, we are responsible for doing that for men as well. While we're quick to tell them, oh, you're not emotionally, you're not doing this, that, and the other, make sure that they have that space from you that allows for them to do that. So I would give Kristen kudos for that, because Shaquille do just be spilling his guts. Then again, I feel like Shaquille's probably like, I don't need a space. I'm gonna just do it.
Right. He's more he's comfortable.
He's comfortable.
Right. He's comfortable. Yeah, so I too, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, when I was looking at her apartment, I was like, well, she, obviously she's I think the issue the thing with Shaquille is like, you walk into his apartment and you can pretty much, like, the overall theme is supposed to get something about that person. And so, like, not necessarily a family photo, because like you, I don't have a family photo of I got a photo of myself in the living room.
What?
I have a photo of myself in the living room, and that's just because I had nowhere to put the picture. But I mean, but I just.
So what we're getting when we walk in your house is there's a love for you.
It's about me.
Baby, one thing you're gonna know when you walk in my house is I love something.
Well, it's not a big, super blown up picture, so it's not. It's yes, I'm confident in who I am, but yes. So I do feel like he was, I guess, because of, like I said, how his home is set up, where you can kind of get his character and personality. Yes, I was, taken back, like she ain't have at least one dresser, because like I don't got two dressers, because not dressers, nightstands. She had no dresser or nightstands, and I was like, oh girl, where do you put all your stuff? And then we went in the closet and we saw. But she also said on the after show too that the reason she didn't have any thing was because she moved in during the pandemic. At the height of like 2020, and that's when furniture wasn't coming in for 6 to 8 months, and she was like, you know what, forget it, I don't need it. Like, if it's not coming for another 8 months, who knows where I'm going to be in 8 months. And I can attest to that. Definitely, most certainly, too, when we were moving into our separate places and trying to get furniture, and it won't be here for 2 and 3 months, or 4 months, and it's like, what's in the warehouse now? So that was a lot. And then for her, if it works for her, it works for her. You're not living there right now, so relax. You just getting a little glimpse into her space. We did not get to see their interaction as far as them going into his apartment. We got to saw some of what his place, I don't know if he has an apartment or not, but his space was, he had the bow ties hanging and then a sewing machine. And then I was like, okay, what's with the sewing machine? Like, I was like, does he make clothes? Or I was like, so then on the after show, I figured when we seen the bow ties, that's probably what he was doing. So he makes bow ties. So he has the sewing machine for that. So he's skilled, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm not mad at it, but out of all things, for them to show, they just showed that sewing machine. We were like, oh.
It was funny editing that. Like, y'all didn't show us their interaction in his house, and then she was like, well, when I went in there, he had bow ties. And we was like, what?
And his closet wasn't as organized either. Like, they showed a glimpse of him going in and getting his stuff, and they're like, now Shaquille, you can't be talking about her and your stuff. And a closet versus what we saw in her entire apartment. Her entire apartment was clean. He's like, no, nobody lives here. That's good. Like, that's a nice space. You don't want to walk in to a house that's not been taken care of and all that other stuff. Personally, I wouldn't want that. So, I thought that it was a nice thing to have walked a nice situation that he walked into. That's just her. She did tell Pastor Cal there was no chemistry there, and he was looking like, girl, we lay in the bed together. You know what I mean? So
what was the question? That wasn't the question.
He said what if they had chemistry?
Chemistry. Oh, that was what he said. Okay.
Yeah, he's like, do you have chemistry? And she was like, no.
She said, not really.
Not really. And he was like, and then Shaquille was like, I know you lying. And then he ran down all the things. She was like, yeah. So, and then that's when Pastor Kyle began to talk to him about creating that safe space so she can get moved from that feeling of I'm not there with him because of he has like this big personality type thing, he likes to laugh and tell jokes. And Pastor Cal was like, let me tell you something, I'm gonna tell my jokes whether my wife laughs or not. I'm gonna tell that you're not gonna stop me from telling my jokes, so leave him alone in that regards. And I agreed with him, right? So if that's his part of his personality, you're asking him to suppress that, and you don't really want that. And he's like, I want to have fun, but if we're in a serious moment, like she said, I will tell him, and you're going to have to tell him in the beginning, because you have to remember you guys don't know each other. So you have to tell him if you're in a serious moment and you want to have a serious conversation with him, you're looking like, let's make sure that we are doing the right thing, that we're having a serious conversation and we're focusing on that and not, laughing and joking about a serious matter to me. If she can get out of her head and get more open, then sure, they could remain. Now, will she? That's the question. I'm not sure. So still, they're another one that's probably a decline. Yes.
Remains to be seen if she would get out of her head, but if she could, yes, they can make it. I was just thinking to my future husband, if you do have corny jokes, just prep me. Because sometimes I'll give you a chuckle and then I'll give you, all right now. But I would never want somebody to suppress who they are. Right. I would want to be able to see how I fit into your world, and I want you to see how you fit into mine, and we bring them together. So absolutely. I agree. But I've always seen a glimmer with them. I think that, I know it's another week I'm saying it. We just need Kirsten to get over it. Right. Get over the hump. And I think that they could really keep going. They could. I just right now she has not gotten over it. She's not over that hump still. No.
And he didn't help by talking about her apartment either.
Because I thought she probably could have went in. Now she healed. I'd have said Shaq. Now Shaq. I'd have gave him a Shaq to let him know I'm about to take it too far. Not you coming at me with your bow ties and sewing machine line up. I'm sorry, I'm not doing the whole circus thing.
Right. So
no, but to me, I still see it as a tentative. They still have this glimmer that I think that they can make it past decision day.
Agreed.
I do. I think that was our final couple. Married at First Sight is trugging along. We're still not really into. Oh, we're not done yet.
Nope. Before you end, I wanted to say something. I wanted to acknowledge something that I thought should be acknowledged, and that is, I love your look today. I like the little off the shoulder and the orange and different. You got the accessories and hair and stuff. So I really, not that I don't like your look any other time, but I like the little look. So shout out to you and your outfit.
Thank you. Please follow me on Living Learning Lifestyle on Instagram and TikTok. I do fashion tips, and I would stand up and give y'all a show.
You don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
But I didn't put the jeans on. Ideally, with this, I would just have on a pair of jeans as well, and then I have some brown boots that I'm gonna throw on, not just casual, because I'm just gonna be running some errands.
Right.
But thank you.
And feel free to come and style me.
What? First of all, you can dress, and when you have something specific, we do talk about ideas and styles and things of that nature.
But if you want for your channel, you can come style me.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I'm saying. Plug, Living Learning Lifestyle.
Oh, come on, ideas.
I have many of them. I just need to learn how to execute
Entrepreneurship.
them. Absolutely.
I have a vlog in my TikTok draft that I just realized I forgot to hit.
Let's send that. Let's get it
Oh,
out.
I meant to post it at 10 a.m. I'm trying to get into the algorithm. It's exhausting. Could y'all just follow me? Living Learning Lifestyle, please.
Listen, we're not stop on this. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep giving everything that we have. Yep, we are sisters. We are two different. But guess what? We're the best of friends, and we just want to share our laughter, our opinions, and our views with everybody. And we want to just say, first of all, we want to say thank you to everyone. I know you said it in the beginning, but I still when ending the video too, want to say thank you all for supporting us, whether you watched one video, two, or whatever, for your comments and for your encouragement. We really appreciate it. It's something new for me, as you know, if you've been following my sister, you know she's been doing this and I've been behind the scenes, but for me to come out into the front and just like, you know, laugh and talk with my sister is our thing. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it, and it's only up from here. So let's go.
So with that, make sure you are subscribed. You can subscribe to this channel, Relax, Relate, Debrief. Then head over to Live and Learn Lifestyle. Subscribe to that channel. I'm going to put up a vlog today on there. But subscribe. Get in there with us. We are excited to bring it to you. Everything that my sister said. We love y'all. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.